I'm not sure. I feel like it's not a video of mine if I don't drop a doll. It's like I have to drop a doll to make a video. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Integrity Toys. Like, a few people have asked about Integrity Toys dolls. Are they worth it? Is it worth joining the W Club? How do you buy them? How do you join the W Club? And these are all things that I kind of wanted to address just in one video because I think a lot of people wonder. I know I wondered before I was a member of the W Club, like, how do you do all these things? First off, I want to preface this by saying I'm actually a newer member of the W Club. So right now it is 2023 February. And I joined in like March of 2022. So it's been about a year since I joined. The membership is a year long. And it has a specific enrollment period, kind of like health insurance. So like you literally have to enroll usually sometime between February and March, and you pay them the $50 in full. You're in the club, and then you can get all the benefits, which we're going to go through. We're going to go through some of the benefits. We're also going to go through some of the cons. Honestly, there are some downsides to the W Club that I want to go over. And then we're also going to go over the dolls. I'm kind of going to do like a review of like a year in review of what dolls did I purchase in 2022. You can probably see some of them up there. We're going to go through, I'm going to bring them all down and look at them. The first thing I want to talk about is how do you join the W Club? Because people have asked me this, and I've even, I've heard like weird rumors that it's like super exclusive and there's a wait list and things like that. I personally did not have any trouble joining the W Club last year, so I don't know, unless they changed something, which I don't think that they did to my knowledge. Right now, is as of February in 2023, if you go to the Integrity Toys website, there is a link that takes you to a W Club page. And if you click on the link, it basically says the enrollment will start soon. Give us your email if you want to be notified. So you can go there right now if you're watching this in February, and you can put your email in there, and then they will notify you. Now that page will of course change as the year goes on. So if you're not watching this in February, then it's probably going to say something different. If you miss that period, that's fine. You'll just have to wait until next February/March. Whenever they do it. It's not always a specific date, it's just usually around that time period. I've only been in the W Club for 1 year, so I'm not going to be the most knowledgeable about like the history of the W Club, the history of Integrity Toys. I'm not really the person to ask a lot of those kinds of like, wasn't it like this 10 years ago? I have no clue, honestly. There are a lot of people on YouTube and whatnot that do know those kinds of things, but that's not really what this is about. This is more so about like, I'm a new member. I bought their dolls for a year. Was it worth it? Would I recommend it? Things like that. But I mostly want to make this to kind of demystify the process of joining for the first time to people who maybe aren't so familiar with the W Club. There is a lot of exclusivity with this club and with this doll company, and there is a lot of secrecy. There's a confidentiality element to it. I can't just share all of the information that they give us as W Club members. They will kick you out of the W Club if you're sharing confidential information. So I want to make that clear as well. So if you have like really specific questions about like what does the W Club forum look like, you just have to join. Before I talk about the benefits of the W Club, I do really quickly, for people who are just curious how to join, I want to talk about that really quickly. So the times where it will be available is sometime between February and March. And if you go on their website and it's not available, there will usually be some sort of information about when it will be available vaguely. They won't tell you an exact date usually. So I want to make that clear as well. It's not difficult to join. In my experience, you go there, if it's available, they say sign up. You click the thing, they show you the benefits, and then you pay them last year it was $50 to join. There wasn't any sort of waiting period. There wasn't anything crazy. I just paid the $50 on their website and they let me in. I don't know if that's the normal experience, but that's the experience I had. The membership fee last year was $50. If you think about it logically, that's like not that much money, right? Like that's like for a membership that for a whole year, that's like less than $5 a month. That's like less than like Netflix or anything like that. So I personally believe that if you are interested in these dolls, the membership is not really the big hurdle. It's more so, do you want to spend the money on the dolls? So if you're not familiar with Integrity Toys, their dolls are not cheap. They are not cheap at all. The cheapest doll that I saw this year, I think was maybe $150 or $160-ish, like around that price range. So if you're not comfortable spending $150 or $160 for one single doll, this just isn't for you. I unfortunately have this problem where I see beautiful, expensive dolls and I'm like, I want it. So then here we are. So yeah, I want to make that clear, because if you're on more of a budget, or you just know that you're not going to be able to afford it this year, that's totally fine. Like I said, this is my first year ever being a part of it, and it's because previously, in previous years of my doll collecting, I just couldn't reasonably consider spending that kind of money on any one doll. So that's part of the reason that I have just never been in the past, and I completely understand if you're in that position now and you just have no interest in joining because you just can't afford it. Like, that's totally understandable. These dolls are not cheap. But I want to talk about some of the benefits. The first thing we're going to talk about is the W Club Forum. Now, this is a benefit that I personally consider kind of like the meh. It's kind of a meh benefit. So the W Club, just to clarify, is actually a separate entity from Integrity Toys. Integrity Toys is like the doll company that makes the toys, and then like the W Club is like the fan club almost. Like the W Club is like the community forum. So it is a separate website. That's important to note. So when you sign up for the W Club membership, you'll sign up, I believe, through Integrity Toys, if I remember correctly, because all the payments go through the Integrity Toys website. But then you have to link up your Integrity Toys account to your W Club account. I'm not going to go into the specifics of how that works. I will tell you, it was a little confusing when I first had to do it, but they do send you an email detailing how to do that. But I just want to make it very clear, these are two different entities. However, they work very closely together. Another benefit of the W Club is that you get to see these like exclusive interviews with the designers, which is pretty cool. I've enjoyed some of them. Personally, I don't usually watch them. They're kind of long. They're usually like an hour long in my experience, but they're usually going through multiple dolls. But if you like that kind of stuff, it is another benefit. It's pretty cool. They usually do them as live streams, so if you like to watch it live, you can watch it there. They also usually send you an email with the videos posted so you can watch it later, and they'll usually send you, as the dolls release, they'll send you emails of what's happening, basically. So we'll get into that in a second, but I want to talk a little bit more about the W Club Forum. The forum itself is a literal forum. Like, it's like an old-timey kind of, I mean, that's not that old, but when I think about like social media nowadays with like Instagram and TikTok and things like that, where you're scrolling and you're kind of like you're getting fed a bunch of different posts, the W Club is not like that. It's very much like a more antiquated kind of forum where like there's subjects and topics and you like go into each one and talk about that specific thing. The other thing to make clear here is the W Club does not release information on the forum. They have said in public things in the past that the forum is just for community members to associate with each other and to talk to other W Club members. So it's really a place where if you want to get in touch with other people in the W Club, that's where you do it. If you have specific questions, if you are trying to get specific dolls that are maybe harder to get, you might be able to find somebody who has them, who maybe is willing to sell them, things like that. I've never done that. And I want to make it very clear, I have been to the W Club forum twice. I went there when I first joined just to see what it was about, and I went there a couple days ago just to remind myself what it was about so I could make this video. So honestly, it's not a benefit that I care about. It's just not something I'm interested in. I much prefer discussing dolls on Instagram and things like that, and on YouTube, obviously. The other thing I do want to mention about the W Club, though, is that the one real tangible benefit of the forum is that there is a monthly contest. Then you enter into a raffle to win a doll. And you can get as many entries as you have W Club memberships, which brings up a specific thing I want to bring up as well. Some people buy multiple memberships. It is a thing that you are allowed to do. It's $50 per membership. I don't know if there's a limit on how many you can buy. I personally only bought one last year. I'm probably going to do the same again this year. Like, it's really more so if you want duplicates of dolls. Like, if I wanted to get a specific doll twice, it's gonna be harder for me to do that if I only have one membership. And with some dolls, it might be impossible. So that's really what it's mostly for. In certain situations, we'll get into this in a second, sometimes dolls aren't a 100% guarantee, so sometimes you do it to stack the deck to like make sure that you get a chance at the doll. So, oh, and then if I didn't clarify, maybe I didn't clarify, but when you enter this contest, this monthly contest for the doll, it's usually an older doll. Sometimes that's very rare, and in some cases I've seen some that were kind of rare, and you just get it for free if you win. It's just a purely random raffle. As long as you answer whatever question they wanted, it enters you to win. If you win, you get a doll for free. That's my understanding. I don't think you have to pay anything for it. I could be wrong about that. They might make you pay shipping. That would be weird, but maybe they do. I'm not sure. I don't actually know. I've never won. I entered it one time and I didn't win, and then I forgot about it. That is a thing as well. I just wanted to mention that, is that there is always the chance that you could get a doll for free, which is that's a pretty good deal, honestly. So if you're into gambling and that kind of stuff, you might like that part. I just forget that it exists, so I never do it. So the next thing I want to go into, though, is we talked about a little bit about the exclusive information, but the main thing that's important to note about the exclusive information you're going to get from the W Club, I just want to detail how it works as much as I can without breaking any sort of confidentiality rules. But essentially what happens is you get an email from the W Club. That's really the only official stream of information you'll get from Integrity Toys. So the email comes from the W Club, and it will give a bunch of information about the doll that's coming out. I don't know how much I can say about it, so I'm not going to go into the specifics, but you'll get like all of the details about the doll. You'll get the option to buy the doll. There are 3 different kinds of dolls. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the W Club exclusive dolls. When you join the W Club, there are what are called upgrade dolls. This was the one that I purchased last year. This is everybody who is in the W Club is going to roast me for my inability to remember every character's name. I think this is Agnes von Weiss, I think. And this is a doll I believe was called Up with a Twist. You can see her right here. She's very gorgeous, very beautiful. She was one of 3 options that I was able to choose from when I joined the W Club to add on to my membership. So this is an add-on, right? So you're paying the $50 one way or the other, but they usually give you an additional selection of dolls if you want to buy them as well at that moment. This doll, I believe, was around $165-ish, maybe. She might have been a little bit less, maybe like $150. I don't really recall. So if I wanted to buy any of these dolls, there was 3 that I could choose from, and you can choose multiple. So if I wanted to buy all 3, I could have. You put down a down payment. So basically, it's $50 for your membership, and then it was $50 for the down payment for each individual doll. So at the time of joining the club, I paid $100, but 50 of that went towards the purchase of this doll. So then when this doll was ready to ship, they then charged the rest of it. That's generally how their buying system works. And then she didn't actually ship until like way later. So I actually was fully in the W Club and had bought multiple dolls before I ever received this doll. But she was one of the upgrades. So what that means is that the only people who were ever able to buy this doll were people who are in the W Club. And you could have bought all 3 if you wanted to. But if you wanted multiples of her, you had to buy multiple memberships. So if I wanted like 5 of her, I'd have to buy 5 memberships. Once again, I don't know if they cap off how many memberships you can buy. I honestly don't know. If they do, please let me know in the comments. I'm actually not sure. But this was my first doll that I technically purchased, even though I did not receive her until much later. And she's very beautiful. I'll show her a little closer here. So she's a part of the Fashion Royalty line. She's a very beautiful doll. She's one of my favorite face sculpts I've seen on the dolls that I've gotten so far. She's just very pretty. She's very pretty. She's got her little martini. And she's got nice little shoes. She's not like super extravagant and spectacular, especially compared to some of the other dolls I'm about to show, but she is very nice. I like her a lot. I'm very happy I purchased her. I do wish I had purchased more. Now, granted, this was my first time buying their dolls, so I didn't know what to expect, so I wasn't really that thrilled to spend like hundreds of dollars instantly. If you put in to buy them, you kind of have to pay them. If you say, I want to buy this doll, and then they go, great, you have the chance to buy this doll, give us your money, and then you say, oh no, never mind, I changed my mind, they sometimes will it will restrict your access sometimes to buy dolls from them in the future. I assume it's a case-by-case basis. I'm assuming if you like can't pay for one doll, they probably don't just kick you out instantly. They seem like they're pretty nice people. They seem like a pretty decent company. So I doubt it's like that severe of a punishment if you just do it like once. But it seems like a repeat offender of that kind of behavior can get you kicked out of the W Club. So she was one of the upgrades that you can buy when you get your membership in 2022. So what that means is that only W Club members were ever offered this doll. They're the only ones who are able to buy her. And because of that, it usually makes the dolls a little bit more limited because these were never released to the general public. And a lot of people like that exclusivity. I personally don't really care about that. To me, it's like a doll's a doll. If I like her, I like her. I don't care whether or not she's rare or exclusive or whatever. I like Integrity Toys because they make high quality dolls. So that's why I'm here. I'm not here to have like the rarest, most exclusive doll. The other thing about exclusive dolls, other than only W Club members can buy them, you will have the chance guaranteed to buy the doll if it is a member exclusive doll. Want to make that clear as well, because that's not the case for every doll. So let's get into the regular, like, limited edition dolls. This doll, I think his name is Thiago. He's from the New Face line. Very cool doll, very cool boy doll. So Integrity Toys does really good boy dolls. They call them fashion figures. I kind of think that's a little silly, personally, but here he is. He's very cool. Their face sculpts are just incredible. But yeah, this particular doll was very, very popular. He was actually the first Integrity Toys doll I ever received. To my recollection, he was just a regular limited edition doll. I don't know if there's a specific term, like W Club term for this that I can't remember, but basically what that means is he was made in a specific edition. I don't remember what the edition was, but if you wanted him, what you do is you enter what's called a right to buy lottery. And they do this for all of the limited edition dolls, whether it's like an edition of 500 or an edition of 5,000, you have to enter the lottery that gives you the right to buy the doll. It gives you a chance to be able to buy him. So this is a doll that was not guaranteed to be able to buy even if you are a W Club member, to my recollection. Now I will say, from my personal experience, maybe I'm just lucky, but of all of the dolls that I put in to buy in the entire year, I got every single one that I bid for. So who knows? Maybe I'm just really lucky, maybe I'm mostly just going for dolls that nobody's really that interested in, but that was my experience. So I do think that you have a pretty good chance of getting the dolls that you want. Like I said, you can buy multiple memberships, so you can stack the odds in your favor. If you're really worried about that, if you know there's going to be some, I mean, you can't know what they're going to release because it's all confidential, but if you have a feeling they're going to release something you really want and you're afraid of not being able to get it, you can buy multiple memberships. You can buy 2 or 3, and then you have 2 or 3 additional chances to put in. What will happen next is you'll get an email, usually about a month later, that says, okay, you won. Give us $50, and then you have to give them the deposit. If you're like me, and sometimes you don't know like whether or not you're going to want the doll, sometimes I'll buy them and then I'll get them and I don't really like them very much. That actually happened to me twice with this year's lines. This was the first Poppy Parker doll that I purchased ever. She was the Mystery Date, a collaboration Poppy Parker. Another thing is Integrity Toys does do some collaborations, probably not as much as you might be used to with like Barbie, for instance, but they'll do occasional collaborations. They've done it before with RuPaul, Trixie Mattel. This was a reference to the, I believe, Hasbro game Mystery Date. I've never played the game. I had no concept of what the game was. I just like the color pink. She was released in a set of like 8 dolls, I think. 4 were boys, 4 were girls, and they all came in sets. Oh, technically 9 dolls, actually. So they all came in sets, and there was one Mystery Date. So this was the Poppy Parker for the formal date character. The other ones I wasn't that interested in. I was interested in the big fluffy pink dress. It's not the best pink fluffy dress that I have in my collection, but I was like, this will do. This is fine. She's very beautiful though. The doll herself is gorgeous. I mean, and that's the thing about Integrity is it's like, even if you don't like the design of the outfits, the dolls are always beautiful. Like the actual doll themselves, you can redress them into anything you want and they'll be gorgeous. I ended up getting the Mystery Date though. He's called like the Stud, and honestly I was so underwhelmed because this doll was supposed to come with a really like cute looking like Twinkie dude in a tuxedo, and I got the Mystery Date, which was like, the doll himself was great. His outfit was just very bland in my opinion. So I sold them on eBay because I was like, fuck it. I don't want to display this. I'm just not interested. It's just going to take up space. So I wanted to make that clear because I did sell 2 dolls that I purchased. He was one of them. The other one I'll go over really quickly. It was the like, the Magi, I don't know. There was some sort of like, I'll put a picture of him here. He was really cute. I actually really liked him as a doll. However, if you've watched my videos before, you might know that I hate the way velvet feels. And I didn't know from the promo pictures, his entire outfit is made of crushed velvet. So I opened up the box, looked at him, and I was like, I figured somebody else will enjoy this more than me. It's more of a hassle anyway. And he wasn't cheap. I mean, I probably in total paid like $200. So I was like, I'd rather just have my $200 back. And I resold him for a very similar price. And that's the thing about Integrity dolls. If you buy them from Integrity Toys and you resell them shortly after, it's not like you're going to make any money off of it. Usually it's just kind of like a good way to get your money back if you decided you didn't want the doll in the first place. Well, that's why I don't feel as bad about buying a bunch of them, even if I'm apprehensive about the design, because I know I can always just resell them if I have to, if I don't really like it once I see it in person. So that's something that's important to note as well. If you're worried about the price, keep in mind these dolls tend to retain their value, especially if you leave them in box. So if you buy one and then you have buyer's remorse and you need to sell it, it's pretty easy to sell them. The third type of dolls we're going to talk about are dealer dolls. This is where, in my opinion, Integrity Toys is really like antiquated. And the dealer doll system is so difficult to work with, I think. Personally, as somebody who lives in the year 2023 now, I'm just like, I can't believe that this is still the way that this works. But I'll kind of break it down for you. To my knowledge, first off, I don't believe you have to be a W Club member to buy dolls from a dealer, but I think it gives you some sort of exclusive access to them earlier or something like that. I don't really know. I will say, as a W Club member, I have struggled to buy dolls from a dealer. These are usually smaller toy stores, toy sellers, things like that. They seem like they're all pretty much smaller toy stores. I mean, I didn't look through every single one extensively, but if you go to Integrity Toys' website, there is a list of their official dealers that they work with. Integrity Toys distributes their dolls to these dealers. They usually will alert the W Club member of the releases before they happen, and then at that point you have the ability to go to the dealer and buy them. The problem with this process is that you're working through an additional third party to then buy the dolls through another company, a completely different company. Literally, like, their entire process is different depending on which dealer you work with. Some dealers have fully functional online stores that are really easy to buy from. Some dealers, you go to their website and it's just an email address, and you dead ass have to email them, I want to buy this doll. And then I guess you do the exchange through email. I have no clue how that works. But yeah, so every company is completely different. You have to look through each company manually to see which one you're comfortable dealing with. Obviously, they're all official Integrity sellers, so obviously they're going to have the dolls. The problem is that they might not actually have the dolls. So there's no real information about how much merchandise each individual dealer gets. So if you're a newer member, it's kind of a whole different system that you have to navigate, where it's like you have to find a dealer and just hope that they don't have like a ton of older members that they work with, that they sell to, that are going to buy the dolls first, or that they're going to save the dolls for. Now, I hope that they're not really like straight up saving merchandise for specific customers, but I've heard rumors that things like that can happen. I don't know if that's true. But I personally struggled a lot with this system. In the entire year I was in the W Club, I bought probably like 12 dolls or so. These were the only ones I ever bought with a dealer. I believe these were the first dealer releases that happened, and I bought them pretty much right as they came out. They were in a set of 4. I was only able to get 2 of them. The other 2 sold out so quickly that I literally just couldn't get them. They were all really gorgeous though. And I would have bought the whole set if I could have easily gotten all 4 of them, but I just couldn't. I could only get these 2. This is from the East 59th New York line. I don't know who this is. I don't know who these people are. I don't know the characters. But anyway, all I'm trying to say is that basically, some of the lines, you have to buy them through a third-party merchant, even if you are in the W Club. So being in the W Club doesn't make this process any easier for me personally. It just gives you the knowledge that it's happening. You'll get an email about it, basically. I bought these 2 dolls from a dealer who had a fully functional website. So I just went to their website. The shop was in the website. I added them to my cart. I checked out. I purchased them. The dealer was really great. I don't remember the specifics of them. I just remember they were really easy to work with. However, they only had these 2. They had already sold out of the other ones. The other thing I noticed is that some of the official dealers on the website, literally as the doll releases, they will have the doll for sale on their website, but they will charge more than retail value. Integrity gives you the retail value. Like for both of these, I think they were $165. And I remember looking through different sellers' websites for these dolls, and they were selling them at like $200. So to my understanding, they don't have to charge you retail. They are allowed to mark them up, it seems like, which seems insane because Integrity's system of shipping is kind of vague. You do not get a lot of information from the seller. Even the seller I worked with, who was one of the best that it looked like they had on their website, I did not have any information about when they shipped other than what the email told me. There's no tracking information. There's no like, it's going to ship around this date. It's kind of just like, it'll ship in like spring or something. You know, they give it like that vague. I remember actually emailing the dealer because it had been a couple months. I literally was thinking like, did I literally just get scammed? Like I actually thought that at one point because these were not cheap. These were $160 each. So I paid them like almost $400 to get these dolls between shipping and tax and everything. And I was like, did I literally just get scammed by some random like business? But no, I didn't. I emailed them and I was like, hey, I've never done this before. How long does this usually take? And they looked at my dolls and they said, those will ship around this time frame. We'll email you when it's time to ship them. And I actually remember one of them came in early, and they actually emailed me back and they said, hey, we have one of them here already. Would you rather me ship it now or wait for both of them to arrive? I'm impatient as so I said, yeah, please ship it now. And they did, which was really nice. And they didn't charge me any additional shipping either, which was very nice. So they did, they were really easy to work with, the company that I worked with. I'm sure they're probably all pretty easy to work with. I just was very sketched out by some of the dealers who just had like an email and that was their whole website. Like in the year of 2022, if you are a toy store and you don't have a functioning website where people can buy things on the website, like I don't understand how that's possible. Like I don't understand how you're doing business, but maybe these are really, really small businesses that only service like local people. But at that point, it's like, it's so difficult as somebody who's just trying to buy dolls online, like I think most of us do, it's so difficult to work with companies like that. So that was my biggest frustration. After my experience trying to buy these two dolls, I never tried to buy another dealer doll again because just the knowledge of how difficult it was going to be and how frustrated I was trying to do it, I just wasn't really interested in going through that again. The moral of the story is that if you were trying to buy like every single release or something like that, if you're one of those people where you want to buy like every doll, you're going to struggle with some of them. You're going to struggle with the dealer releases, and there's always a chance with the really limited dolls that you won't be able to get one. It's always possible. So I just want to talk about the rest of the dolls I purchased from the W Club this year. So if you've watched my channel before, you may have seen this doll already. I did a full unboxing of her. This is the Stay Tuned Poppy Parker doll. She's kind of based on like Lucille Ball, like old-timey TV show style kind of idea. She's the other Poppy Parker I have. Like I said, I only have two Poppy Parkers currently. I do have another one pre-ordered, she just hasn't shipped yet. And that's the other thing. Even though the 2022 W Club membership is coming to an end, there are still a few dolls that I pre-ordered. There's, I think, 2 more that I pre-ordered that I just haven't received yet. So they just haven't shipped yet. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes the shipping is kind of in between the enrollment periods, and that's totally normal and fine. So nothing to be concerned about. I just wanted to mention that as well. This isn't all the dolls I bought this year. It's just all the ones I've received so far. But yeah, I talked a lot about this doll in another video. If you're really interested in her, you can go watch that video as well. But I just loved her. She's like an achromatic kind of color palette. I wondered if they maybe did this because of the success of like Shadow High, because it was around the same time that they released this doll. It could have just been a coincidence, but it was pretty cool, honestly. The other thing I want to mention about a lot of these dolls, this one's a great example, she came with 2 different outfits. So a lot of these dolls will come with 2 separate outfits. This doll came with pants and a separate pair of shoes, and you will see that I tried them on her in the other video I did of her. So yeah, she's my other Poppy Parker that I have right now. And then I'm going to go into the more expensive dolls that I purchased from them. This is, I believe this doll was called like Scarlet Hex or something like that. I don't think that's the doll. I don't think that's the character's name. I think that was like the name of this doll. I'm not really sure, honestly. But this was one of the more expensive releases I purchased. I also want to clarify, not every Integrity doll is the same price. The lower end of their price range is like 165-ish. This doll was about 200, 210-ish, I think. So she was one of the more expensive ones. Usually it's just based on how elaborate the dress is and things like that. Because she's in this dress that's obviously a lot more fabric, it's a lot more delicate, it's covered in embroidery. She's obviously going to be a more expensive doll. To me, I kind of liken this type of doll a little bit more to like if you're a Disney designer doll collector. I feel like the quality you get with these are very similar. It's like a lot of embroidery, a lot of intricate fabric, and like a lot of like intricate stitching and things like that. Very beautiful. She's one of my favorite dolls in my collection. She just really pops with the beautiful red gown. And I don't remember this character's name, but I'm sure somebody in the comments probably knows if you guys want to go through like what the characters are. But yeah, she's so beautiful. So to be frank though, this is not like the normal kinds of dolls you'll buy from them. Most of the dolls you'll buy from them will be in that lower price range, usually the $160 or so. They don't really sell a ton of dolls in this price range, and they don't really do like a ton of like extravagant gowns throughout the year. I think I only saw maybe 2 or 3 for the whole year, honestly. So this isn't the norm. This is a sort of special release that will happen like occasionally. But I like this kind of stuff. This is my favorite thing that Integrity does. So I bought a couple of dolls that were in this kind of more like extravagant gown situation. So I also have a video specifically on this doll if you want to see in more in depth. I believe her name is Vanessa Perrin, I believe is her name. She's in my other videos if you want to watch that as well. But this was actually, I believe, a release from the 2021 W Club. However, joining the W Club gives you the ability to put yourself on wait lists for dolls that have already released. So I was actually able to put myself on a wait list shortly after joining the W Club. I talk about this a little bit more in depth in the video that I talk about this specific doll. And I waited about a year. I actually very recently was accepted for the waitlist for this doll. She was about $200 as well. So she wasn't cheap. She was on the more expensive side, but so worth it. She is easily my favorite Integrity Toys doll. Like there's no question about it. She's just gorgeous. She's so beautiful. I love her gown. I love everything about her. So yeah, definitely worth it. I just wanted to show this one as well. She wasn't technically a part of the 2022 releases, but it's important to mention that there's probably some other releases from 2022 that haven't shipped yet that probably there's a waitlist for them. So keep that in mind as well. Even if you don't like all of the initial upgrades you're seeing available for the W Club in the current year, you might want some of the older dolls, and you'll probably want some of the newer dolls. I mean, the newer dolls are always great too, but it's just, I wanted to make that clear. This was not a part of those releases, but I did get her as well because of my W Club membership. So wanted to point that out as well. I have one more bonus doll to show you actually as well. I completely forgot, but we do have to talk about her. So the last doll I want to talk about is actually, once again, it's another release that came out before 2022. This is the Trixie Mattel doll. So if you are not familiar with Trixie Mattel, she is a very famous drag queen. This is actually the only Integrity Toys doll I've ever purchased that I have not unboxed. I'll try to take the cover off to show you though. So here she is without the cover on. I was thinking about doing a video where I completely unbox this doll, but honestly, I do really like the way she looks in the package. I like that there's actually a photo of Trixie Mattel herself there. This was a release from 2021 that also was still available. And honestly, this was available to the public as well. So this wasn't a exclusive W Club membership. You could have bought this doll even if you were not in the W Club. But as W Club members, we did get an alert that emailed us and said, hey, this is up for sale. Do you want it? So I believe that kind of went out a little bit before they posted it on the website for everybody to buy. So it just gives you a little bit more access in case a lot of people wanted it. I really love this doll. I was actually really disappointed when I didn't buy her initially. I was so happy that they actually had extras and they sold them once again to the general public and also to W Club members. So I just wanted to talk about her as well, because that's really is the main thing, is that you're going to get all these alerts and notifications that are going to tell you when dolls are available. So you just have a higher chance of getting them. So I just really quickly want to go over my final thoughts, how I felt about all the releases. As you can see, I bought a lot of the dolls and I kept most of them. So I clearly enjoyed my membership, but I want to go over the downsides. The biggest downside is that these dolls are very expensive. These are expensive dolls. I mean, if you did the math, which please don't, but you can probably imagine if I spent at least $160 on all these dolls. I think I showed you like $9 or something. I spent quite a bit of money at Integrity Toys this year. I spent more than $1,000 just on their dolls alone. I'm not going to do specifically what the math is. I just know it was more than $1,000. But I have a bunch of really incredible dolls that I really love. So for me, it was fine because I budget a lot of my expendable income for dolls. And I am in a point in my life where I'm comfortable enough to be able to buy these kinds of dolls. But if you're not, if you are struggling to buy a doll that's $100, then it's not worth it. It's really not. I mean, I've been there in the past, and like, I wouldn't want to have a membership and be taunted by these dolls if I didn't have the ability to buy them. So I want to make that clear as well. There were times where something released that I really wanted and I just didn't have the money at the time. Like, these are expensive dolls. Sometimes they'll release 8 dolls at a time, and even if you do set aside like a couple $100s for dolls, unless you literally set aside like thousands of dollars for dolls, which I don't do that, then you're just not going to have the money to buy every single release. So that's kind of like the way I like to think about it, is that it's like, these are not dolls that you can like complete the set unless you're willing to spend like thousands and thousands of dollars on. Very expensive. That's the biggest downside. The other downside is that the shipping times vary dramatically and they're kind of vague. So the way the purchase of these dolls usually goes is you tell them you want the doll. They say, okay, give us the deposit. You pay them $50 or whatever the deposit is. And then they tell you, okay, it'll probably ship around like spring. So then you just wait. And then eventually they send you an email that says time to pay us. And when you pay them, I will say they tend to ship pretty quickly. Like, I've had it where I paid them and I got the doll like 2 days later, but you have no guarantee of when that will be. So you have to manage your money well. If you're somebody, especially on a budget, you have to know like, oh, I have 2 or 3 Integrity Toys dolls that I've pre-ordered. I have to have that couple $100s set aside specifically for those dolls. So it is a bit of a budgeting issue as well, especially if you're like me and you buy a lot of other dolls. Like, I buy Barbies and Playline dolls and collector Monster High dolls, things like that. Things where you won't be able to tell like their release times, because like Monster High, for instance, they tell you like the week before they come out, basically. So if you're like me and you buy a lot of different kinds of dolls, it might be hard to budget. There have been times where I pre-ordered a doll and I completely forgot about it, and then suddenly they were like, hey, this doll's ready to ship, give us $150, and I was like, oh, whoopsie. And I kind of moved stuff around and made it work. But if you don't give them the $150, you can put yourself in danger of kind of being one of those people who doesn't pay for things, but you don't want to be one of those people. If you have your own critiques or criticisms, please let me know in the comments, things that you liked or didn't like about the W Club if you are a member. But overall, I just want to make it very clear. I think if you want to even buy one of these dolls, like if any of the dolls looked interesting, you're willing to shell out $160 to $200 for one doll, then I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to get your membership, even if you just want to buy one single doll. The other thing I want to mention is that W Club members get preferred pricing. So even the dolls like the Trixie doll, if you buy that as a W Club member, you get like $10 off or something. So that's the other thing about it, is that if you're going to buy a lot of these dolls and you're not a member, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you're going to end up paying more and have less access to them. So, but I think even if you want to buy one of these dolls per year, it's worth it to just pay them the $50, I think. That's my personal opinion on it. With the markup you're going to see from a secondary eBay seller, if you can even find it, it's probably going to be more than $50 more. So I just wanted to make that clear as well. I'm going to sign up for the W Club again in 2023. I probably, for the foreseeable future, as long as I'm collecting these kinds of dolls, I probably will continue. I don't really see any reason not to. It's a pretty cheap membership. It gets you enough benefits, in my opinion, to be worth it. And also keep in mind, if you do use the W Club forum and you enter that contest every single month, there is a chance that you might win a free doll, which will definitely make it worth it, because all the dolls they're giving away are easily $160 value per doll. So if you guys have any additional questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.